Hello everyone. I'm going to be teaching you how to put your paper assignment in the proper MLA formatting. So to start off, your cursor doesn't have to move or anything. Should automatically be in the upper left-hand corner of your page. And you're going to write your first and last name on the first line. So for this example, the student's name is Jane Doe. Okay. Pressing enter once, it'll put you on the next line. After the first and last name, then you would write your instructor's name. So it might be Professor Williams or somebody else. For this instance, this teacher's name is Miss Williams. Pressing enter again. On the next line of your heading, you are going to want to type the class name. So if you're in high school, it might look something like, let's see, English 10, and then your period number 2. So period 1 for this example. Pressing enter one more time. The very last item in your heading is the due date for the assignment. So it's not the assignment, or it's not the date that you're typing the assignment, it's the day that the assignment is due. So you don't want to write due date or anything like that. So let's say that this assignment is due March 19th. So you write it out like this. It's okay if you want to type it like this instead, where you put the number first. That's fine. Depending on your teacher, they might have a preference. So I'm going to leave it the other way before. Either is fine though. You just want to make sure you type out the full month and put it in this format. After that is done, press enter once. You're now on the next line right after your heading, and this line is intended for the title. So you need to make sure your title is centered. So going up to the very top of your task toolbar, you'll go up to the place where it's called paragraph, and automatically you're on aligned left. That's why our heading was in the upper left-hand corner. But if you press the button right next to it, it should say center when you hover over. Once you press that, your cursor will go into the center line. So this is where you should put your title. So for this example, I'm just typing title, and that's a placeholder for where my title would go. Pressing enter again, this is where the rest of your essay is going to be written. So the title's done, the heading's done. Now we're typing the actual essay. But you want to make sure you convert it back to a line left. You don't want to type your paper in the center like the title. So going back up to paragraph, we're going to change it back to a line left. So we're on center right now, clicking the button that says align left. Click that one. Should put our cursor right lined up with our heading. Before you start writing, you're going to want to make sure you indent your first paragraph. So what you do is you press the tab button once. The tab button is on the left side of your keyboard, and it's right next to the Q button. Press the tab button once, and it should indent just a little bit to line up here. This is where you'll write the bulk of your paper. So the text might look something like this for your assignment. This, of course, is just an example of what it might look like. I just typed that out so you can see how the formatting looks. So we haven't changed line spacing or anything like that. And you can see already that these lines right here are not the same spacing as the lines right here. That's a dead giveaway that you have not changed your spacing, which is going to get you deducted points for MLA formatting. So to make sure that you can change all the spacing at once, you'll want to left click where your cursor is and then drag it all the way to the top so you make sure you have all your text highlighted in gray like this. Then going back up to paragraph, we're going to change the spacing. So if you go with the 2 blue arrows, point up and down, should say line and paragraph spacing. If you click on this, the first step you want to do is press remove space after paragraph. Once you do that, it should all be scrunched up like this. Going back up to that button again, you'll press it down and you want it in double spacing. So double spacing is 2.0. So 2.0 is double spacing. So it's just correct order. You might have to remove space before paragraph, it'll say that instead of add. But if they both say add, then you know you've done it correctly. Okay, so let's unclick that. Okay, so we have two more things to go for the text of our paper. So we want to change the font style and the size. So going up to font now, this section of our task toolbar, we want to change it to Times New Roman. So you can either press it from the drop down menu, and it might be there if it was recently used, or you can even type it up in the blue like this. So I'm going to click it, and now it's in Times New Roman. The one last thing you have to do is make sure that it's in size 12 font. So going over right next to where we changed the style, you'll press the 12, and now it's formatted correctly. Make sure to unclick there. And that's basically the gist of it. A couple additional steps is obviously if you don't know how to save your document in Microsoft Word, the save icon up here is a floppy disk. Hopefully you kids know what that is. And if you press this button, it'll be like, do you want to save it? Save as. You can browse to put it in a certain place. Documents is a good place to save it, like this. And that's how you'll save it. Always make sure to save your assignments under a name that's easily found. So not your first and last name, which is almost always the default. You might want to name it what you'd name your title. So it might be book report number 3 or quarter 3 or something like that. Whatever's easiest to find for later. The very last thing you're going to want to do is to put your last name and page number on this page. So what you need to do is on the left hand side of either your keypad or your mouse, double click in the very uppermost part of the page. This should automatically change up here to header and footer tools. It should say header here and have a dotted line across. All of this will disappear once we start our header. But because we want our page number, we're going to come back up to the toolbar. In the upper left-hand corner, it'll say page number. Click down on that. We want on the top right side, so top of the page. Then if you scroll down to plain number 3, you see how the number in the preview is in the upper right. That's what we want. So you click that once. It automatically puts the number for the page in the upper right-hand corner. So if you move on while you're typing to page 2, it'll automatically convert to a 2. That way you don't have to go in and manually put page numbers on every single one of your pages. Press the space bar once, and you're going to want to type your last name. So because my example is Jane Doe, the last name I'm going to put up here is Doe. Just like that. And of course, you want to format them just like the rest of the paper. So you'll change it to Times New Roman. And then you also want to put it in size 12 font. Double click back in to get back to the assignment. And now you can type the rest of your paper like normal. Yeah, we did it. And that's how you properly format your paper. I hope this was helpful.